Hey everybody, this is Nate Dancer with Pure Life Ministries. You're about to listen to one of the segments from our bi-weekly podcast, Purity for Life. We take you where real life meets real Christianity as we tackle the tough issues for those struggling with sexual sin. We hope you enjoy.
Jeff and Rose, as we focus on couples this week, we want to talk about what is admittedly a difficult issue for anyone, the betrayal of trust. Jeff, how does a couple begin to deal with this issue?
Well, first of all, Mike, the husband needs to understand because he has lied sometimes for years to his wife and hurt her very deeply, and to the point that some wives actually are more upset at the lies he's told rather than the actual sin that was committed. And the husband has to understand that, and that trust is not going to be something that's going to come automatic for his wife. He's going to have to be willing to be truthful and to handle things differently so he can build that trust back into his marriage. And it might take quite some time to do that.
So do you find that sometimes the husbands think, well, okay, I've gotten all this out in the open, I've acknowledged everything that I did, and so everything should be okay now?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we see a lot of the time. The husband expects his wife to snap out of it and, okay, you got to trust me now. And really, I question whether that guy has really been broken over his sin, who's not willing to bear his wife through the process of building that trust back into the marriage.
So are there any particular steps that he can take? What are the things that he needs to begin to do?
Well, the Bible's pretty clear. In Ephesians 4:25, it says, "Therefore, put away falsehood. Let everyone speak truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another." And Mike, it's pretty much comes down to learning how to speak the truth and being vulnerable. A husband, a lot of times, who's in sexual sin, isn't honest about what goes on inside. So the wife kind of knows something's wrong, but he's lying and saying everything's fine. But when a husband is honest and he begins to speak truth from his heart, and he shares what's going on inside his heart, and he's vulnerable to her, well, now she says, okay, I can trust him. I know he's not trying to put up a false front to me. He's being honest about his struggles, what's going on inside. And a wife that sees her husband speaking to her that way in truth, in vulnerability, she can begin to start to trust him again.
And so oftentimes I would assume that he's just looking at his outward behavior, but what God's wanting to do is that inward work in the heart of a man, and that's what the wife is looking for. So if a guy is just changing his behavior and the guy doesn't understand, well, why isn't my wife trusting me? What he's not understanding is that she's looking to see if there's a heart change over a period of time.
Right, absolutely. And sometimes the husband will fall into the trap that he has to be perfect. And that if he shares with his wife that he's struggling inside or there's something not right inside, that she's going to freak out. But really what he doesn't understand is it'll actually make her more secure. I mean, our wives want to know what's going on inside of us, and they're not looking for some spiritual Superman.
Right.
They're looking for a man that is honest and vulnerable and willing to open up his inside world with his wife.
Rose, is there a different perspective that a woman, the wife in this situation, has? How is she dealing? First of all, how does a wife perceive this issue? Does she see it differently?
Usually the wife does not trust the husband at all, even though he's gone through the program and done all the right things. She doesn't trust him. That's just where she's at that point in time. They feel like frustrated a lot of times because the husband will be in this mindset that, okay, because I've done the program, you need to trust me now. And they have a track record of where they can't be trusted.
Right.
So I try to help the wife just to see the focus needs to be on the Lord, as far as he's the one that your husband is accountable to primarily, and to trust that God is able to deal with him. And as you see the Lord working in his life and him growing in the Lord and dealing with his heart, then the wife starts seeing, okay, that trust can be built back into the marriage. It does. I mean, it does come back, but it's really weighs on the husband, how vulnerable he's willing to be and open and honest with his wife. Because someone that is honest and open and vulnerable, you can trust.
Yeah.
But someone that's been lying and deceiving, you can't trust that person. And usually I'll ask the wife, when can you trust someone? When they're being honest with you. So if they're not being honest, the husband's not being honest, they're just really, they're hindering the Lord from working in that area.
Jeff and Rose, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
You're
It's
welcome.
good to be with you.
Thanks for listening to this segment from Purity for Life. If you want to hear the full show, go to purelifeministries.org/podcast or check us out in the iTunes Store.